You know, tonight we're going to start by talking about Oregon's State Mental Hospital. It's called the Oregon State Hospital, just to make things a little complicated. It's an important place, though, that has struggled to treat all the people sent there from the criminal justice system. And tonight there's a new policy in place to help manage that stream of people, and that is our big story tonight. The Oregon State Hospital is in Salem. It holds just over 700 people. You should care deeply about what happens there, because when it's full and new patients cannot get in, it means that someone with mental illness might end up in your community, maybe on your streets, and others will suffer in jail waiting to get in to mental health treatment there. Before we get too deep into this, let's just clarify for a moment. Some who are at the state hospital now have not committed any crimes, but they do have a mental illness and they're dangerous to themselves or to others, and there's nowhere else in their community where they can be treated and safe 24 hours a day. This story is not about them. Others are there because they were found guilty but insane during a trial. The story's not about them either. It is about another group of people with a mental illness who've been accused of a crime and are awaiting trial. That group is also sent to the state hospital to get help so they can aid and assist in their own criminal defense. Over the last several years, more and more people like that have been sent to the state hospital. As recently as 2017, Lynn Saxton, who at the time was leading the Oregon Health Authority, which is in charge of the state hospital, she sounded the warning. Here she is testifying at a legislative committee and describing the problem. You're going to hear her refer to the 370 census. Well, she's talking about the folks that we're highlighting, people charged with a crime but sent to the state hospital because they cannot aid and assist their own defense.
Over the years, the number of these patients at the state hospital has continued to climb. In 2011, the average daily 370 census was around 100 patients. In October of 2016, the census peaked at 248 patients.
So that was back in 2017 when she was saying that. And that jump from 100 to 248, that's a pretty big jump in 5 years. Now, you might think all those people were charged with seriously dangerous crimes, and some were, to be sure, but others were not. Some were only charged with misdemeanors.
At close to $1,000 per day, mostly general fund dollars, Oregon State Hospital is the most intensive and costly level of care in the state for adults. With a limited number of beds, we should reserve admission to OSH to only those who actually need hospital-level care. It is not the appropriate place for people who have been arrested for public urination, general nuisance crimes, or drug-induced behaviors.
But that is where some of those people were being sent. Here's an updated look at the numbers, by the way. In January of 2012, there were 109 patients at the state hospital for that aid and assist help. This past December, the number had ballooned to 394. That sort of growth brought big problems. For instance, some defendants with mental illness sat in local jails waiting for space to open up the state hospital. They sat there a long time. It's sort of like not being able to get into the airport because there's no planes leaving and the place is jam-packed. Well, this chart from OHA shows that back in January, there on the left side of your screen, January 2021, people were waiting longer than a month to get out of jail and into the state hospital. It was bad again in the middle of the screen around February of 2022 and is now down slightly under 20. That's an average daily wait to get into the state hospital, just under 20 days. But that is still way too long. And hey, this is not my opinion. That's what a federal judge said way back in 2002 when Disability Rights Oregon sued the state over this very same problem, and they won. The federal Ninth Circuit Court ruled that if people are found unfit to help their attorney defend them in court, they should be sent to the state hospital within 7 days. Not 20, not more than a month, 7. The group sued again in 2019 because it was taking 26 days to get people to the state hospital, and then again in 2021 because it was still taking too long. Part of the problem? According to an expert advising the court, once patients got into the hospital, they were staying too long. They weren't leaving fast enough. Some people could stay for as long as 3 years. Well, the new court order said the hospitals could only treat people accused of a misdemeanor for 90 days, non-Measure 11 felonies for 6 months, and Measure 11 felonies only for a year. Then they had to be released back to the county that they came from. Prosecutors did not like that one at all. They worried that dangerous criminals would be sent back to their county with little warning and no place to go. So the district attorneys from Washington, Clackamas, and Marion counties banded together and asked the federal judge to change the rules. And last week, he did. The new rules allow for more notice when someone is being released from the state hospital. It was 30 days, now it's going to be 60. The rules also allow the DAs to ask that the patient be held longer than those other rules allow, in some cases back up to that 3 years. And it limits who can be sent to the state hospital. People charged with non-person misdemeanors will not be admitted and must be treated in their community. Recently, I had a chance to talk with Jesse Merrithew. He's the lawyer representing Metro Public Defender, which joined in on this lawsuit because they wanted to protect their clients who were languishing away in jail. He noted that with the changes made last year, the jail time waits are getting shorter, but he said more needs to be done.
It's good that there has been movement, but it is not to the place that the Constitution requires yet. People are still waiting approximately 15 days on average in order to be admitted to the hospital. The injunction requires that they be admitted within 7 days. And really, the 7 days should be an outside limit. We should be, beds should be available when people are committed, and they should be in the hospital just as soon as logistically possible.
Kevin Barton, the district attorney in Washington County, said the ability to ask that the patients be held longer, well, that's good for everyone.
It's a game changer. We've been asking for, and I've been pushing for that ability to hold more dangerous felons longer since the very beginning, since September. And when we have people who are accused of committing the most violent crimes and the hospital discharges them early, we have nowhere to safely put them, for not only for their safety and the public safety, but the victim's safety as well. So that is a huge, huge benefit to not just Washington County, but the entire state.
So where does it go from here? Everyone seems to agree there needs to be more places for people with serious mental illness. The district attorney there says the state hospital should expand and there should be more community mental health places. The lawyer for Metropolitan Public Defender agrees more is needed in the community.
The big picture solution is, all the investments the legislature made into community mental health, that stuff needs to come online so that we're not in the behavioral health crisis that we are in the state. That'll go a long way to avoiding the criminalization of mental illness, which is at the root of this problem.
So by that, do you mean that there needs to be more neighborhood facilities where people can go to get their mental health issues treated before it gets so bad that it just becomes a criminal issue?
Yeah, exactly. There needs to be places within every community in Oregon for people with mental illness to get treatment. The police officers who are responding to calls for service need options other than taking people who are obviously mentally ill to jail.
So what do you think about that? Are you as frustrated as the experts that there are not more options for people with serious mental illness? Are you like me wondering, how do we get here without places for people in our communities, for crying out loud? Whatever your thoughts, send me your emails, will you? Let me know what you're thinking about. And it doesn't matter if you're watching this live or watching it later, we still want to hear from you. The email is thestory@kgw.com. You can also call and leave a voicemail. We might put your voice on TV. The phone number is 503-226-5090.